Last month, former big league closer Billy Wagner fell 5 votes short of induction into the Baseball Hall of Fame. An extremely disappointing result in my opinion, as he is one of the greatest relief pitchers of all time. There's already multiple videos on YouTube that detail his career, so I won't dwell into his statistics and recommend you watch them to learn more about him. There is one stat I do want to mention though. Among all relief pitchers in MLB history to throw at least 725 innings, Wagner is second in adjusted ERA, only behind the legendary Mariano Rivera. When you're second to the greatest reliever of all time, safe to say, you were pretty good. However, do you know who's third behind Rivera and Wagner? That would be Jonathan Papelbon. If you know a thing or two about Papelbon, then you know there's a lot that can be said about him, and we'll get to that later. But in spite of various incidents he was involved in, Jonathan Papelbon was still an incredible pitcher with one of the most accomplished careers any reliever has ever had. He was a relief pitcher who played in Major League Baseball for 12 seasons from 2005 to 2016. During that time, he pitched for the Boston Red Sox, Philadelphia Phillies, and Washington Nationals. Across those 12 seasons, Papelbon threw 725 and 2/3 innings and played in nearly 700 games. He holds a lifetime record of 41-36 and saved 368 games, while recording an ERA of 2.44, adjusted ERA of 177, a WHIP of 1.043, struck out 10 batters per 9 innings, and earned 23.3 WAR. He's a 6-time All-Star and placed second in Rookie of the Year voting in 2006. Those statistics sound incredible, but how does he compare to other pitchers during his era, as well as relief pitchers all time? Given that he retired not even a decade ago, I thought it would be fair to look at all relief pitchers since his debut year in 2005. There have been 34 relievers to throw at least 700 innings from 2005 through the 2023 season. Over that near 20-year period, Papelbon is second in ERA, first in adjusted ERA, third in WHIP, sixth in strikeouts per 9 innings, and third in strikeouts to walk ratio. Even if we lower the threshold to 500 innings, in which over 100 relief pitchers have achieved since 2005, Papelbon still ranks inside the top 7 in all stats mentioned above, with the exception of strikeouts per 9 innings, where he ranks inside the top 20. Looking at all relief pitchers in this time frame, regardless of playing time, Papelbon ranks 30th in innings pitched, 4th in saves, and 3rd in WAR. Of course, what's 20 years compared to everyone else? How does Papelbon fare among all relief pitchers throughout MLB history? Through 2023, there have been 236 relief pitchers to have thrown at least 700 innings. Papelbon ranks 4th in ERA, 3rd in adjusted ERA, 5th in WHIP, 9th in strikeouts per 9 innings, and 3rd in strikeouts to walk ratio. Lowering the threshold again to 500 career innings, in which there have been 461 relief pitchers to throw that many, Papelbon still ranks inside the top 6 in ERA, adjusted ERA, WHIP, and strikeouts to walk ratio, while ranking inside the top 25 in strikeouts per 9 innings. To look at all relief pitchers without a minimum innings threshold, Papelbon ranks 213th for most innings thrown, but ranks 10th for most saves and 19th for most WAR. Based on all of that, it's not a stretch to say that Papelbon is arguably the best relief pitcher over the past near 20 years, at worst a top 3. He's also legitimately one of the greatest relievers of all time. To further illustrate how amazing his career is, let's look at 2 specific stats, adjusted ERA and WAR. As mentioned before, Papelbon's 177 adjusted ERA is 3rd for highest mark among relievers with at least 725 innings. It is really difficult to earn that high of a mark with that many innings. How difficult is it? Let's look at every pitcher in MLB history to have a career adjusted ERA of 177 or higher and sort by innings. While Papelbon is 3rd at 725 innings, the 4th most innings is fewer than half at 338. To repeat that, the 4th most number of innings a pitcher has thrown in a career with an adjusted ERA at or higher than 177 is fewer than half the amount of the 3rd place mark. If we were to look strictly at active pitchers, the most innings by a reliever would be 238 and a third by Emmanuel Clase, less than a third to that of Jonathan Papelbon. Looking at WAR, Papelbon's placement for 19th highest among relief pitchers may not seem as great as his other statistics, but consider this. Every reliever with more WAR has a lot more innings pitched, oftentimes hundreds more. If we look strictly at pitchers with as many or fewer innings as Papelbon, he's in first with the second highest WAR being 20.4, achieved by Aroldis Chapman in about 27 fewer innings. Considering Chapman has only earned 3.2 WAR over his past 162 innings pitched and would need exactly 3 WAR in 27 innings to move into first, safe to say, Papelbon's record is intact for now and nobody's threatening to break it anytime soon. Something not even mentioned yet was Papelbon's achievements in the postseason. A World Series winner in 2007, he induced the final out that clinched the series for the Red Sox, but his performance goes beyond that. During the 2007 postseason, Papelbon threw 10 2/3 innings and allowed 0 runs. Through 2023, it's just one of 25 occurrences of a relief pitcher throwing at least 10 innings in a single postseason without allowing a run, and then Papelbon did it again one season later. In the 2008 postseason, he threw 10 1/3 innings and again allowed 0 runs. He's just one of 3 relievers ever to throw at least 10 innings in a postseason without allowing a run twice. There are an endless number of great things to say about Papelbon's amazing career. However, there are several antics of his that ought to be mentioned as well. He openly criticized former teammate Manny Ramirez's work ethic, was allegedly fined more than $10,000 by Major League Baseball for his slow pace of play, was suspended 7 games for grabbing his crotch in front of Phillies fans, was suspended 3 games for intentionally throwing at Manny Machado, was suspended 4 games for choking out Bryce Harper, and just earlier this month, openly called out former Red Sox outfielder Alex Verdugo. As you can imagine, there's much more I could have mentioned, but that would take an hour. An absolute brilliantly skilled pitcher with a ton of horrendous and questionable moments on and off the field. To pivot away from that for a moment, there's no denying Papelbon was an elite pitcher. Given that, is he worthy of Hall of Fame consideration? On one hand, he's one of the greatest relievers of all time. On the other hand, he's an absolute lunatic. In spite of everything, I'll say he's not Hall of Fame worthy as there's 3 glaring things that negatively affect him. The first being his playing time. 725 innings is a crazy amount, but when compared to other Hall of Fame or notable relievers, it's on the low side. Of the few relief pitchers that are in the Hall of Fame, all of them have over 1,000 innings pitched, and should Billy Wagner get elected next year, he'll be the only one with under 1,000 innings pitched and would still have nearly 200 more than Papelbon. Other non-Hall of Fame pitchers such as Joe Nathan, Francisco Rodriguez, and Dan Quisenberry all have over 900 career innings pitched. And even active pitchers like Kenley Jansen and Craig Kimbrell have higher amounts than Papelbon. Secondly, his counting stats are inferior for Hall of Fame worthiness. Along with innings pitched, he has under 400 saves and under 25 WAR. There are 5 pitchers not in the Hall of Fame that all have higher numbers in those 3 areas. If those 5 are not in the Hall of Fame, should Papelbon be in if his stats are lower? Lastly, and most obviously, the several controversies he was involved in during his career. I don't believe those ought to significantly hurt his consideration into the Hall, but in no way do they help. When he appeared on the ballot for the first time in 2022, he received only 1.3% of the vote, dropping off as soon as he was eligible. If he was able to stick around a few more years, maybe reach 450 saves, 900 innings, and 27 WAR, it'd be a completely different story. There was perhaps no relief pitcher better than Jonathan Papelbon during his time in professional baseball. Stats that only a few throughout history have been able to surpass, he'll go down as one of the greatest relievers in MLB history.